All right, so in this video, we're gonna go and show you guys how we're coming up with some custom fields, particularly for the client and the job pipeline. These are areas of JobTread that we are working in every day. And so we've got a pretty tight setup and pipeline for how we're passing customers and jobs through this pipeline. So we'll take a look at this here. We're gonna be in settings. We're going to come down to customer accounts, and we've got this funnel status right here. So we've separated how we're doing the pipeline between customers and jobs. We found ourselves in the beginning creating two pipelines that looked very similar, as if we were trying to track the progress of the sale almost to the end of the job in the client pipeline. Like it's almost sold, or it's sold, but it's in production, it's in scheduling, and we were tying that to the client. So what we've done is we've condensed the client list, and the intention here is that this is going to be the wide net. This new lead option here, which is the default value, can be populated by the form being filled out on the website, any kind of phone call. The information can be incomplete. It's just the broad net that catches every ounce of potential client or lead or contact that falls into here. And the intention of this pipeline is get to where some sort of offer, whether it's a design offer or a proposal, is being created. So once a job is created or a decision is made of whether that lead is going to turn into an opportunity or a job created, that is what this pipeline does. So the new lead can be quickly parsed into, we've contacted and we're waiting for a response. We've contacted them, we've talked to them, and we've offered them a design engagement, or we've offered them the consultation and discussed some of the design. And we've booked a consultation. These are all things that happen before we create a job in JobTread. And then if it's a job where we are quoting it, let's say it's just a simple, we're sodding the front yard or something. And that'd be something that would fall within our scope to do, but it doesn't require a design engagement. We're going to put them in this create a job offer so that we are reminded, hey, on this client pipeline, we've got to kind of push these through this client pipeline pretty quickly. And then once that proposal or that job is created, then we put into what is a customer account list. And we do this instead of customer won or customer lost, because we are defining whether a sale or a lead is won by whether a job is won. We may offer something to a client and they may be in a client lost bucket, but what if down the road things change, they decide, they call us back, and now they want to do business with us. Now we've got to sift through this client, bucket here and decide, so when were they lost? It's an extra layer of management that's really not necessary, that could be handled much better through the job pipeline. So that is the intent of the customer pipeline. And now let's take a look at the job pipeline. So once a job is created and we've got a job stage, this is brand new. This is kind of like the net. It's not going to be as wide as the customer, because not a job isn't going to be created for every customer. But basically, this is send them something. They need to get out of this box. They need to get out of this bucket really quickly. We need to be offering them a design and waiting to hear back. And that's what these two ranges are. Or if we're needing to send them the proposal, then they're awaiting. We're on propose. We'll put them in propose, and we've sent them a proposal or a quote, and we're waiting for their response. So once they sign the design engagement, we have a 3-step draft, revise, and propose design cycle. And so that's how we manage most of our design effort, falls in one of these 3 boxes. And once we finish the design cycle, they move up to awaiting proposal response. So the pending design offer, you can see these 3 dots, the 3 dots here on awaiting proposal response. That is to help visually help identify the buckets as you're looking at the Kanban. in the Kanban view of these pipelines. And then they are also the buckets that tend to fill, and then jobs will just sit there because we might not hear back from a customer, and it could be a month or a couple of months, and then eventually they fall off, and then we do our follow-ups. But then eventually, if they just never respond, then at some point we draw a line and call it a lost sale. And so opportunities, jobs will get stuck here, or they'll sign to a design and get stuck here. And then once they've passed this awaiting proposal response, if they say no or they don't respond after our follow-ups, then we just actually close the job. So we're not putting them into a bucket of like lost work. We found that just closing the job kind of kept things a little tidier. And if they won, then it moves to planning, which is we're getting permits, we're getting, the schedules being created. And once we get close, now we're looking at scheduling. Like once we're about a couple weeks out, we know a pretty good idea of when we're going to be breaking ground. We do another walkthrough with the client because sometimes it's 3 months between signing the deal and breaking ground. And we want to be able to deliver a great experience to the customers. And sometimes with time, the scope gets a little fuzzy. And so doing that walkthrough before we break ground, kind of like an all hands meeting, that's our way of getting everybody back on track, hashing out any finer details before we break ground. And we found that usually gives customers a really great experience. So then this is when the project manager takes over, planning, scheduled, in production, closing punch list. We're almost done. We like to do a meeting on the second last day or the last week where we review the work before our crews leave the job site. And then we've got like a finished brief. So the job is done to the customer, but this is our chance to go through any projects, any wins, any losses, any feedback. And then completed for closing is the bucket that we put things into that lets accounting know we're ready to settle whatever needs to be taken care of. Send any vendor bill payments, anything on the accounting side that needs to be buttoned up before the job is completed. And then this last bucket is returns for work orders. And in the Kanban, that's like the most read version, which also is a little fitting. But that's a bucket that we have for in the cases where we need to go back and do some follow-up. So that is this pipeline here. And I'm realizing that needs to create that. So those are our customer and job pipelines.